afternoon, everyone. I'm Lynn Murphy, your host today for Toastmasters Talk Show. We have a very interesting guest today who is a speaker, as you know, a distinguished Toastmaster. He's a leadership expert. He's an author, a business owner, executive coach, and an educator. He earned his doctorate in leadership from Phoenix College, where he teaches now, and he has a company called Career Impact Coaching, where he coaches executives, a lot of executives in transition, which ties to that first book that he wrote. Now, in all these years in Toastmasters, Steve has been president of five different Toastmasters clubs, and he's won the Toastmaster International Leadership Excellence Award 3 different times. Amazing what he's done in his career, focusing on leadership. You heard about his 2 books, which we're going to talk about today, so help me give a warm welcome to Dr. Steve Broe.
Thank you, Lynn.
Steve, tell us a little bit about how you got interested in leadership and why that's been the focus of your career.
Thank you. Well, of course, Toastmasters has been a very special place for me, and there is a leadership track of learning in Toastmasters. One learns to become a leader by becoming a club officer, serving in a district leadership role, and I've taken on a number of those opportunities. And I've become really excited about the chance to influence other people and make a big impact. I was invited, because of my connection with Toastmasters, to teach with the University of Phoenix back in 2001. And along the way, I found out I could earn my doctorate and study more about leadership, and I've become really interested in the subject. And I can't give it up now that I've published a dissertation on the subject, studying leadership here in Arizona. I continue to work on that subject.
Okay, Steve, so tell us what leadership means to you.
Well, I like a really simple definition is a leader is someone who has followers. I think it's Peter Drucker said that. But to get a little bit more into it, I like a model of leadership that says there are 4 components to leadership: a person who has influence, a person who executes, get things done, a person who builds a network, and a person who has strategic thinking, can see a little bit further about the future. But the more I learn about leadership, I learn that so many different people have a different impression on leadership. And if we want to talk about what leaders are, you can include people like General Patton, the World War II leader, but we can also think about Mother Teresa, someone who made a difference with people, poor people, especially in India, but around the world. And also, if you think about it, the Beatles. The Beatles were profound thought leaders who changed people's lives. So any good example of talking about leadership has to be big enough to include all of those things.
Well, and that's a good message for our audience today. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, there's a leadership role for them. It's just a matter, I think I'm hearing you say, a matter of finding what's leadership for you.
Yeah. Leadership is different for a lot of different people, and we don't all come in the same cast or mold. So anyone who says a leader has to be doing this, this, and this, I tend to be a little bit skeptical, because the gift can come in a lot of different forms.
Thanks, Steve. Now, I know Nancy mentioned that you had published one book, Leaders in Transition, and you said that that answered the question, how do people become a leader after they've changed careers?
Here's my book, yeah.
So that one you've already published in 2012, and now you're working on one called Leaders' Quest for Success. And you told me that that answers the question, how do successful people use leadership skills to reach their goals? Tell us a little more about that book, the new one.
Thank you so much. Well, like the first book, Leaders in Transition, I'm talking to people who have had experience in that field. So I'm talking to people who have been both successful and they've told me they've used leadership skills to get there. So I've talked to about 12 people so far who fit those qualifications. I've talked to a surgeon who's developed a new method for eliminating tumors using what he calls a cyber technique. And I'm not quite sure how that works, but he's published several papers on. Talked to a mother who founded an advertising agency with her son. They're now listed in Arizona's Book of Lists in advertising. Talked to a lady who founded a nonprofit and a business helping people who are unemployed get new opportunities in their life. I talked to one of my mentors who's a career coach and a business coach, and how he got to be successful. So I'm having a lot of fun talking to people about what they've actually done as a leader to make an impact and what they found to be successful. And I'm trying to gain from that knowledge and then eventually share that with other people.
Well, it sounds like you've got a good mix of people that you're interviewing, from the mother who started a business to a surgeon.
Yes.
Lots of different things. Tell us some more people who you're targeting to speak to.
Well, I have a contact right now with a man who runs a internet-based company. I've talked to another man who started a software company, and he's been running that for 30 years. He's about ready to sell, and he's made a lot of money, but he's interested in helping people along the way. Thanks.
Now, tell us, in talking to all these people, what's their impression of what success means?
Great. That's an important question for anyone who reads the book. I liked best the example I got from a man who's in finance in the East Valley. Told me that his idea of success is being able to leave his business for the summer, go off and live in Spain for 3 months to visit his daughter and rent a nice house and have a great lifestyle in another part of the world, and then come back and have his business still running well. I like that idea of success. I mean, that sounds really good to me. But a lot of people that I talked to told me that success for them means making a difference with other people and having goals, pursuing goals, having a dream, working on the dream. So if you have a dream and you're working on it and you're making progress, I think we can say that you're being successful.
Well, and I think from talking to you, you said that you work with your people you're coaching as far as setting goals, that that's a big part of what you do in your business.
Yes.
Do you think the goals really help achieve success for anyone?
I think goals are a method for achieving success. I think the dream and the vision behind it are the force, the fire that helps us move forward. And the goals help us to operationalize our plan and to move forward.
So what compelled you to write this book?
I love writing. I love talking to some of the people I've talked to you about. I love being expressive. I love adding my own voice to what I'm learning about and trying to help find meaning for it and express it. And I love having a copy of my book in my hands, being able to pass this out to people. And it's a wonderful experience.
And it's not just an e-book, it's an actual physical book. Isn't that great? I love the physical part of it. You're very passionate about the book, about leadership. Tell us what else you're passionate about.
Well, I just celebrated my 33rd wedding anniversary with my wife, Carolyn.
Congratulations.
Thank you. My son is graduating from ASU in another week. He told me yesterday that he finished his last class ever. So somehow I doubt that that's really true, but I'm glad to see him finish college. I'm an amateur musician. I spend one night a week performing and rehearsing with a group called the Arizona Winds. We'll have our last concerts in this month of May in the West Valley. So I have a lot of fun learning things. I mean, learning to be a musician is part of what I'm doing, and I study French every day. I spend time every day working on my vocabulary. Eventually, I'd like to learn Japanese as well, but I'm not there yet.
A Renaissance man, right?
Yeah.
Well, Steve, how can people stay in touch with you and find out what's going on with your book?
Well, thank you so much for that question.
We've got to talk about the book.
Okay, first of all, I love to develop relationships with people who are working on expanding their life. So first of all, contact me on LinkedIn. Let's have a LinkedIn relationship. Anyone who wants to talk about their success. You can find this video and others that I'm working on YouTube. You can join me. The YouTube channel is called Dr. Steve Broe. I found out when I set this up there's actually another Steve Broe YouTube channel, someone in England. So I had to add Dr. Steve Broe to distinguish myself. And if you're interested in talking further about your success, your journey, what you're creating, let's have a success conversation and let's find out how we can possibly help each other.
I know I enjoyed the conversation with you the other day. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Steve, any last comments you want to make for the audience?
Thank you so much for hearing, and I really love the opportunity to get this opportunity on film and to create this book. You're giving me added inspiration to move forward too. So thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Steve. Everybody, let's give Steve a warm applause for